Hello, lads and ladies, and welcome to this. Welcome back. It's Monday night, which means one thing. League One Roundup is back, and we're going to discuss Saturday's games, some big results at the top, in the playoffs, even within, the mid-table shake-up, trying to finish as high up as you can. Some shocks over the weekend, of course, as well, and some big results at the bottom, some big clashes, between relegation teams. We're just going to put your comments on the screen and see who's with us tonight. They're all the games. That is the running order that we're going to go into. And if you can see and hear me okay, let me know in the comments down below. Again, no Jake again tonight. It probably will be me till the end of the season. Obviously, commitment issues with Jake means that obviously we're alone, but that still doesn't matter. We're still going to discuss Sky Bet League One, and we're going to discuss it. All the games. I'll have a look at Saturday as well. Depleted fixture list. A lot of games getting called off due to obviously the international break as well. That obviously means Tuesday night games where it gets a little bit interesting. So we're going to discuss it in this stream as well. And if you are just joining, please like, please subscribe, and do all the good stuff. Hello, Nat. Hope you're okay, mate. I actually watched Sheffield Wednesday the other day. Obviously, being a Friday night game meant I could watch an extra game this weekend. Watched, obviously, the games back yesterday. But I was able to watch Sheffield Wednesday. And obviously, I will give my thoughts of it very soon as well. But again, if you guys can keep commenting, keep liking, keep subscribing as well, that'd be massively appreciated as well. Again, let us know how your team got on over the weekend as well. Some big results, wasn't there? We had a Friday night game. We had a couple of early games on the Saturday due to policing issues. And I am aware that Sheffield Wednesday isn't on the screen. That'll be sorted as soon as possible, and we can get up and running. Let us know if the sound's all right, because obviously had a couple of issues recently in recent weeks, but we should be fine and dandy now. I went to Derby at the weekend, and if you aren't sure, Fleetwood brought home the bacon, which we will discuss very soon. Tomorrow's big buzz. All right, not catching we are with you. How's following Ipswich? Eventful at the moment, isn't it, for Ipswich fans? Good evening, Nappers and League One fans. We're going to get into it then, and we will start off with Lincoln against Peterborough. Lincoln finally lost at Sincil Bank. It always had to happen. They've drawn way too many games. Now, I went through their running order of their draws at home. Accrington drew there. Fleetwood drew there. Forest Green Rovers drew there. Exeter drew there. MK Dons drew there. There's about 7 or 8 results where you should be looking at winning the game, and they haven't. And that's where their season is where they are. Look, you look at it, I think they're 2 or 3 points better off than last season, and they played 2 less games. They've lost 9 less games. They lost 18 at this point last year. They've only lost 9. Which is an improvement. They're harder to beat. Do I think the style of football has changed at Lincoln? At times, they look good. They look great going forward. But I just think over a 46-game season, it is a little bit blab, a little bit try not to lose type of thing. They've got stars in the team, and they probably need a couple more in the summer. Lincoln City are a team that are punching above the weight to be in League One, but let's be honest, there are 7 or 8 clubs that are doing the same as well, and they are probably, the team is a League One mid-table side, for the size of the football club, a League One mid-table side, but the journey they've been on has been good in recent years, and losing to Peterborough at home won't be nice for them. Peterborough's a great result for them. 8 goals in 2 games. For them are both away from home, and this is what Peterborough can do, and this is why I get a little bit frustrated with them, losing 15 times this season, and but they can produce moments like this. They're a bit like Blackburn. They don't lose. And I think they've had a successful season because they're still within a chance of the playoffs. I do think they are in a category of 9 teams that are either better than them or the same level as them. And that's where they are at the minute. They're just outside the playoffs. Clark Harris getting another goal, Ward getting another goal, Taylor from midfield getting a goal. So it is all good signs for Peterborough. They're still within a chance of getting the playoff. That's all that matters. For Lincoln, it's just getting to 40, 48, 49, 50-point mark. And they've got, 9 games left to do it, 10 games left to do it. They'll do it comfortably. Obviously, last year they weren't great under Michael Appleton, and it was a bit sour. It all depends, because if they have this sort of season next season, you might have to look at Mark Kennedy's position. That's all I'll say on that one. I think he's done a steady job, improve them defensively. They're not playing bad football, but it is a bit bleak at times. Accrington, again, lost at home, but it's the manner of the defeat, who it's to, losing 1-0 at home to MK Dons, a direct rival for relegation. And again, they showed no real signs of quality. The fight was there. I'll never, ever say about an Accrington side that they give up, because John Coleman won't let that happen. And if you do see it happen, it's a rarity. Maybe if Accrington run the race, the season isn't over yet. There's still a long way to go. But as games go on, it looks increasingly likely, because I look at the teams down there with them. I think they're better than Cambridge and Forest Green, but you need to be better than another 2. Morecambe are still showing fight, and I think overall Morecambe have got a better team. I think they've got a decent manager, Morecambe, as well, and they've got a goal scorer as well, which Accrington don't have. I think Oxford will pick up overall with Liam Manning in charge, and then you're thinking Charlton are looking safe, Burton are looking nice and steadily as well. A lot of teams that are down there that you need to be better than, and Accrington and Stanley aren't doing that at the minute. It was a Sully Kai goal that won it for them. I know Cumming made a really good save towards the end to kind of keep them at 1-0. But it's back-to-back wins now for the Dons. And you've got Morecambe at home on Saturday. They've got 7 points from the last 4 games. If you can go and get 10 points from 5 games, 2 points a game, all of a sudden you're 20% towards your 50-point mark in 5 games. And Mark Jackson's gone in there. It was an appointment that raised eyebrows, but I think he's done a very, very good job so far. And to turn a side around that were awful at home, they were leaking goals, they were low on confidence. I'd probably say they were the worst side in the league until Christmas Day, in my opinion. I know you can say Forest Green Rovers, we slightly expected that, but it's disappointing. It's a great result, and I think the clean sheet will also please the coaching staff and the team and supporters of that football club. We'll talk about Bristol Rovers now. And Bristol Rovers, again, they are a little bit like Lincoln. A bit more of an attacking style of Lincoln, where they concede a lot of goals, but they score a lot of goals. And they're either really good and they put on a show, or they're really poor and they lose at home as well. And that's what you've got from Bristol Rovers this year. But I call it a successful season for them, because they're at 45 points. They're pretty much... I'd say they probably need another 1, maybe 2 points to guarantee survival. If I'm honest with you, I think 44 points will be enough. I said that on Wednesday. But you're never quite sure. Again, Bristol Rovers still got a lot of learning to do. They've got to improve next year. Tactically, at times, I doubt them, but they try and play football, which is good to see. And Joey Barton's record against Portsmouth isn't great. Portsmouth, under Messina, what is it? Something like 8 wins out of 15 or 9 wins out of 16. They're going away to difficult places to play at. Not difficult teams to play against. Difficult places like your Bristol Rovers, your Accringtons, tough places with, terraces, open ground, upsets can happen. They're making Fratton Park a fortress again as well. So it is really good to see for Portsmouth. Are they still in a playoff race? Now, technically, yes. There's 7 points off. They've got a game in hand. They're at 57 points. They've got 9 games left. That's 27. So the maximum they can get is 84. Now, the way Bolton are going on points per game, they'd get 78. Now, I don't think that points per game will be enough by the end of the season. I think teams will go on a little run like they did last year. What was it, 83 points last year? I believe 80 to 82 will get you in. So all of a sudden then you're thinking Portsmouth probably would need a minimum of 23 points to take them to 80 points, possibly 22, which all of a sudden then you're thinking 7 wins, 1 draw, 1 defeat. Can Portsmouth go and do that? I reckon Portsmouth, although they've got a nice run in, I think they'll get 5 wins. It's just the other 4 games where they may slip up. And you've got to also hope for other results to go your way. But it's a positive step for Portsmouth. They're much improved. And if they did this 5 games early where the blip happens, they'd be in the playoffs. And that is football for you. And Charlton are another one where they went away and won at a ground they should be winning at by 2-1. Raksaki and Leeburn getting the goals. Probably their light at the end of the tunnel this year. Raksaki into double figures on goals now. 10 goals for the season. In his first full season in football, what a low move he's had. Charlton, in my opinion, I don't think stand a good chance of keeping him. I think you'll see him go to probably a mid-table to a higher-end championship club in the summer. Potentially that with Crystal Palace, you know. They're not too far off the relegation zone. That's how crazy football can work. But that's a low move that suited all parties. And Leeburn as well has come through Charlton's academy. He is their own and got 8 goals this season. So, again, another positive light. I think that they're better off than last season, but it's not a successful season because Charlton should be pushing where Peterborough, where Portsmouth, where Wycombe, where Bolton are, because they are a big football club. I know ownership problems has happened and more managerial issues. They sorted Dean Holden's contract out. They've got a decent squad. They've improved. They were able to get money for some of the players in the January transfer market. But going forward with Charlton, I don't think at this moment in time they'll finish in the playoffs next year, where you look at other football clubs, you think Wycombe, they'll be there or thereabouts if they don't get into the playoffs or go up. Bolton will be. You know, Barnsley will be. Ipswich or Plymouth will be. You know, all these football clubs that are around the marker where they should be will be where they are. And I just think with Charlton, do they have the level to go up again at this moment in time? It may take 2 or 3 years to get to the standard of that. It takes a lot of time and a lot of effort. So let's see. Before we go on to Cambridge, I don't want to be too harsh on them, but I've got to be. The run that they've gone on is not great. They've got 8 or 9 games left. I don't think sacking Mark Bonner would do anything. I don't think there's anyone better. I think sacking him now wouldn't do anything. They might go on a little bit of a 2 or 3 game run, but would it be enough to survive them? No. They're at 30 points. I reckon they probably need another 14 points, which would it be enough? I don't think so at this stage of the season. And they started so brightly, and the fight, the energy that they once had has disappeared, and they're going to have to rebuild. It's as simple as that. And everything negative you could say about them at the moment, they don't look like scoring. They don't look like keeping a clean sheet. They lack energy. They lack that little bit of quality in midfield at times. I don't think they're not trying, but they get beat easily. Whether that's down to whether they're just clearly not good enough, a bit like Forest Green Rovers, and the quality shows. But as soon as 1 goal goes in the back of the net, heads go down. They started booing the other day as soon as Charlton scored, which I'm not a big fan of. But when you're losing games of football, the players and the managerial staff live very much in the real world. So that is the first part of the roundup. We will come to your comments now, so get them in as we go along. We've got Derby, Barnsley, Wycombe and Peterborough. Every game in League One till the end of the season will be tough, and you will get so many shocks. believe me, because teams will rotate, teams will give youth a chance. You know, people are on the beach. You know, Fleetwood the other day played with a more relaxed style. And, you know, all Plymouth games are against lower end teams. Means nothing because you're playing against teams that are fighting. I think that'll go down to the last day of the season. Brown is a negative manager. Fans like their team to play attractive football. Brown doesn't. Still early days. So, yeah, I agree with that. I think that the other day, for the first time, we went to a team, we pressed high, we had energy, we moved the ball forward, and it worked. The problem is, we're good against the decent sides, but we set up against Forest Green Rovers at home to the same way we'll set up against Sheffield Wednesday away at times. And there is your issue. I've got no issue against his approach against the bigger and better side away. But at home, I want to see a little bit of quality. Apart from Derby in the last day, we played team in the lower end of the table as well. How you doing, mate? Big Celtic fan here. Our Fleetwood fans take it to Brownie. Look, I've not warmed to him yet, but I think he's one of those type of people that it comes in time a little bit, where it's a bit like a joint of beef you put in a slow cook cooker, you know. Whereas Uwe Rosler was more like your Rustler's burger that you put it in, and after 30 seconds, we all loved and adored him because he played the right way, and we were winning games of football. With Brownie, you think you get a little bit of light, like you did on Saturday, then the next game disappoints you. So there's still a long way to go for Scott Brown. But for every negative you can say about Fleetwood this year, there is a positive. 11 clean sheets. You know, we're in 12th in the table. If you offered Fleetwood fans that in July, they'd have taken it. I only think that we can't warm to him at times is because of the style of football. If we're playing, winning games 2-3-1 and going for games, and we were 12, we'd probably love him because the results haven't been that bad. It's just we've had a good part of the season and a bad part of the season. I would love Wednesday to win the league, but I had a weird dream. Barnsley won 3-0 against us tomorrow. I will be watching that game with a keen interest because Barnsley look good. And no one's mentioning them for top two. Where are the Derby fans tonight? Yeah, very good question. Cheltenham beat Exeter. Now, that's what, 3 wins and a draw in the last 4 games. You know, you beat Peterborough, you beat Fleetwood, you beat Exeter. All in that run, Alfie May scoring goals. Up to 13 for the season as well. Another young lad up front scoring goals for the Robins. And for getting over that final furlong now, Cheltenham, and as they approach the final stretch, they're getting over that line and winning the race. Sorry, I will never ever use Cheltenham references ever again about Cheltenham Town Football Club, but they are. It's mad how a 46-game season, and you look at Fleetwood, you look at Cheltenham, you look at Burton, and you look at MK Dons. They've all gone on this weird 4 to 6 to 7 game run that they've accumulated points, probably not even played well in most of them, but they've won the game, they've kept the opposition out, and that is what has kept them up. Whereas Accrington haven't had a good run. Forest Green Rovers, I don't think they've even had a good game in 2023. Cambridge are the same. They had a good run at the start of the year, but since then they've probably won something like, I think it's 2 out of 19 games they've won. And they don't draw games, they lose games. So this is the difference. Morecambe went on a good run. That's why they're still within a chance and 4 points above Cambridge. So these little runs can define seasons as well. Exeter are one of those who'll win 2 in a row, and then they go away and, you expect a defeat, really. An early penalty miss, you can see just after that. You get back in the game, and then you can see the couple. So that game probably should have gone other ways, but it didn't. And Exeter still had a very comfortable, successful season. I put out last night, and I want to know from you guys in the live stream as well. I know we're 38 games in. Now, I went with what do we call a successful season and who haven't had one in League One. Now, for me, so the teams still within a chance, like Ipswich, if you offered them third, 2 points off second, with 8 or 9 games to go, they would have taken it after last year. Yes, they should be winning the league, or yes, they should be finishing second, but they'd have taken it. So I call that a successful season. And Derby, I was probably harsh. I know they had, player issues and administration issues, but that squad are just about squeaking into the playoffs, and there's no guarantee they're going to get into the playoffs. So I said it wasn't a successful season, but I also said it wasn't unsuccessful. It was somewhere in the middle. And then I think the teams at the bottom, those include Oxford and MK Dons. And then the only real teams that haven't had a successful season in my eyes are Charlton and Portsmouth. Everyone else, your Exeters, your Port Vales, your Burtons, your Fleetwoods, even Morecambe, to still be within a chance of surviving. I think even Accrington I was harsh on, because they lost a lot of key players, have had a successful season. I know we're 38 games in, and I'm saying we're 38, and at this moment in time they go down. But they're only a couple of points off, and they're still within a chance. So for me, that deems success at this stage of the season. As a Charlton fan here, how was Jaden Stackley done? If you asked me on Friday, not very good. On Saturday, he was a man possessed. His first goal, wow. His second goal, he just held the ball up and released it to Mendes Gomez. It was Mendes Gomez doing all the work. If you go back and actually look at Stockley's movement to hold the ball up, sugar the defender up, skill him, and then play the pass he did. Oh, sublime. Again, evening. Again, good evening and a massive respect to you. Surely MK Dons would disagree. They finished third last year. MK Dons, no, are in my category where they've had an unsuccessful season. They lost a lot of players. I thought MK Dons would be around about the playoffs. Didn't think they'd be down there, put it that way. The next game we're going to discuss is Derby County 0, Fleetwood 2. And Fleetwood went with a high energy, a high pressing style, and played with, kind of relaxation, nothing on them. And they just went out and enjoyed it. I said, how many times do you think those players will get to play at a ground like Pride Park? How many times will you get to go to these grounds? Some of them are in the back end of the career now. Some of them are young lads. How many times are you going to go to Pride Park and win? That is the kind of places you need to go and put yourself on the map as well. And these lads did that. I was very gutted at half-time that it was only 2-0. I thought it should have been 3. We had a goal chalked out for offside. A couple of good saves from Wildsmith as well. And Derby were giving the ball away. It was literally comical. They were booing, and they made 2 subs at 44 and 2 subs at half-time. They got better, as you'd expect, but they didn't really do much. And Derby have had too many performances like that this year. Too many results like that. Not at Pride Park. It's the first loss at home since, September, October time. But mainly away against a better side. You look at it, they lost to Plymouth away from home. Lost to Sheffield Wednesday away from home. Lost to Barnsley away from home. These good sides, they're losing to. And that's where I've questioned them this year. They are a good side at home. 12 wins from 19. The players you've got in the squad, McGoldrick, Dobbin, Barkhusen, Horahan, Mendes Lang, Forsyth, James Chester. They are good players, but they are getting on a bit. And in League One with 8 games to go, it can either be really good for experience, getting you over that line, or be tiring. We got at them with energy, with pace, and Fleetwood won the game, get in there. Next up, Ipswich beat Shrewsbury by 2-0. A very good win for the Tractor Boys, who, what's that now? 7 clean sheets in a row, 6 consecutive wins in a row. 2 points behind Plymouth with 8 or 9 games to go. they've got some tough games coming up. I know they've got Barnsley coming up as well, which they're going to have to go to with the approach to win the game. None of this draw is a good result away at grounds like this, and they've just got to hope Plymouth drop off. And you think with 9 games to go and a playoff, a cup final for Argyle, they will drop points eventually. I know knowing Ipswich fans, the 4-4, the 1-1 at Fleetwood and the 1-1 to Argyle will be their probable 3 games where they think that's where we didn't get promoted. That's why we're in League One. That's why we're in the playoffs. Cottrell came out after the game and went, they're way too good for this level and they're the best side he's faced this year. I thought they were in Gear B, Gear C when I saw them. But this time last year, they got into the gear and you're just wondering, are the clocks turning on the Tractor Boys? And, they've got some favourable fixtures, some tough fixtures. But I always say at this stage of the season, doesn't matter who you play, you've just got to win games of football. And if they want to play good football, they want to play attractive football. They've done that at times this year. They've done that a lot at the times this year. But they've won ugly, and they're going to have to win ugly again. With Sheffield Wednesday dropping points, it makes it a little bit interesting. I know Wednesday got a couple of games in hand and a couple of points above. I think Wednesday are going to have to keep solid. And, I watched Wednesday the other day, and they were good for 25 minutes, 30 minutes, and the level just dipped off a bit. So we will come to them very shortly. Shrewsbury, disappointing result, probably ends their season in my eyes. But, they've gone there with the plan to win the game of football, and they've had a good season. At times it hasn't gone their way, but they've always bounced back okay. So for me, they're playing good football. They've improved, and, Steve Cottrell has done a very good job there. Liam Manning went in at Oxford. First game, a 1-1 draw away at the Mizuma. Again, a late goal conceded. Ash Hunter for the Shrimps. And is that a goal that keeps Morecambe in it? I know they've got some tough games the rest of the season. They've got MK Dons away, Charlton away, Plymouth at home, Exeter away. That's just some of their games in their running. I do think they'll probably get 7 or 8 points. I think Derek Adams at this stage of the season is a manager that you'd want in your dugout. Look, I don't like his style. But he's working with his hands tied behind his back, and he's done a great job at that football club. He kept him in League 2, got him out of League 1, came back and kept him in League 1 again. They would have gone down, no doubt about it. The style of football was better under Robinson, but, at times Morecambe fans will hate him, but at times they'll love him, and it is Derek Ball at its peak. But Plymouth continue to win, don't they? 2-0 against Forest Green Rovers. Forest Green Rovers just need putting out the misery, really. It's kind of just like, they're 105 and they don't even open their eyes anymore. That's what it's like at times for them. Plymouth did a good job to win Ballymumber on the goal scoring sheet as well. The home form this season has been ridiculous. The home form for Argyle over the last season and a half has been ridiculous as well. So consistent, scoring goals, keeping clean sheets, and that's what's keeping them in that playoff race. If they'd have lost that, I think that would have been real curtains for them, because you're at home, you're playing bottom of the league, you've got to make a statement. And they didn't play the best that they've ever done, but they got the job done. And at this stage of the season, that's all that matters. Forest Green Rovers, Duncan Ferguson, 9 games now without a win, losing 7. Planning for next season, I do think he'll be there, but long term, is he going to stay there? Charlie Savage got a call for Wales. He's rejected it to stay with Forest Green Rovers, making the most of his loan spell. I like that. I don't think he's going to help him get him out of the bottom area, because look, they're on 23 points. He probably need 23 points from the last 9 games. So, it's not over, but it's pretty over. That's what I'd say about the Vegans. Port Vale 2, Burton 3. What an absolute cracker that was. Port Vale score early on. Ellis Harrison and Burton respond really well. You've got this aura about them at the minute, Burton, where they play with, pace, power, and they're getting results, especially in 2023 under Jimmy Floyd. Sorry, not under Jimmy Floyd, that's right, under Dino. Obviously, last year, start of the year, they got results under Jimmy Floyd, and towards the back end of the season 2 years ago, they got results under Jimmy Floyd. That's why I like this. But Dino's kind of put the faith back in his players. Brought a couple in as well. They are basically Charlton reserves, but they're winning games of football, and it's a great result. I think 600 fans travelled down from Burton, which is a good support from the Brewers for the size of their football club. Port Vale, I think they just need the end of the season now. I think they're starting to whimper towards the end of it. Although they're playing well in a lot of games, they're not getting the rewards because they've stopped winning games that they was. They're conceding a few more goals than they was. They just need the end of the season to kind of refresh and go again. I hate to say it, Burton last year went on this little bit of a slumber and started slow the next year. That needs to kind of not happen for them, because the reason why they are where they are, because they started sharp at the start of last season as well. We'll go to Wycombe and then we'll go to Wednesday. Wycombe lost under Matt Bloomfield. I know it's the same approach. I know he's a club legend there. It just doesn't feel the same. When you talk about them or think about them or go. Under Gareth Ainsworth, you always thought, right, this is going to be probably one of the toughest games of the season, especially at Adams Park. It feels a little bit like it's a bit easier to go there and win now. But again, a great result for Barnsley. Barnsley are no mugs. Both sides could have won it, but Barnsley obviously got the win in the end as well. And that's what they're doing at the minute. They're winning games of football prettily and ugly as well. And that's why they're still in the top two race. They're going to have to do a lot, right, in the last 9 to 10 games of the season, but it's still doable, and they've still got belief there. Wycombe have still got belief on the playoffs. They've still got quality. I like Matt Bloomfield long term. Do I think they'll go up this year? I'm not sure, in my opinion. Wednesday, again, played well for 25 minutes. Windass was brilliant for those 25 minutes. Gregory just loves scoring against Bolton. Scored against them last year at Hillsborough in a 1-0 win for the Owls as well. Bannon in midfield had all the strings as well. Even at the back, they look solid as well. And then Bolton score something out of nothing. And then Bolton compete and probably deserve the draw in the end. Wednesday were pushing, but never really looked like winning the game, in my opinion. And it's a frustrating one, but the unbeaten run goes on. What's that now? 23 games unbeaten. They've gone a half a League One campaign, without defeat. Wimbledon did that last year, but without a win. So it's really difficult to do. And well done to Darren Moore. It's rocking down there. And there's no reason why they can't go and win the league with 100 points still. I think getting promotion is going to be the key. First, in my eyes, we'll have a look at the League One table now as well. We'll come to your comments. We won't mention the two games Wednesday have in hand as well. Games in hand mean nothing in my eyes. Play them, and yes, but with Sheffield Wednesday, it's a different case. It's kind of like, yeah, they're going to get something and make it difficult for the other teams as well. Plymouth Argyle again, still in that top two, only 1 point below Sheffield Wednesday. And, they've won 3 of the last 5, they've lost 2, still picked up 9 points. Wednesday picked up 13. And this is where drawing games, gets a bit more frustrating, and Wednesday fans will be like that. But I reckon if they go and get 17 points from their next 33 available, which is top 10 form, they'll get promoted. But they want to do it in the style they've done all season as well. Ipswich only 2 points below, and they're in the form of the league as well. Barnsley as well, 6 below Ipswich, 2 games in hand, and play them at Oakwell. That game, if they win, all of a sudden, they can go 3 points above Ipswich as well. Football doesn't always work prettily like that. Unfortunately, Barnsley fans as well. And then you've got a bit of a gap there up here where Derby have played more games, but are 5 points off. And Derby's form, when you look at it, 7 points from the last 5 games isn't great as well. Bolton 5 points. You know, Peterborough are the team that are chasing out of everyone. I know Portsmouth have picked up a couple of wins, but if any team are going to get into the playoff, I think it'll be Peterborough over Bolton or Derby. I do fancy Derby to stay in the playoffs. It's going to be difficult, and the same for Bolton. They need this cup final done. Plymouth and Bolton need this cup final done. Get it out of the way, and then you can focus on the league, because well done to both sides. I think there's 66,000 ticketing sold. It doesn't quite trump the 80,000 Sunderland and Portsmouth fans did, but it's a ridiculous effort from both sets of supporters, and you know you can't knock it as well, especially in difficult times. None of the top 6 have taken off more points than 3 off Plymouth. Fleetwood took 4. Obviously not in the top 6, but again, you know, when you look at it, you've not won, in 14 out of your 37 games. If you can go and do maybe 16 out of a possible 46, you know, and you're winning 30 games, you know, you win 7 of your last 9, be ridiculous. Burton took Argyle to Wembley. Thought we looked tired against Bolton. Yes, I thought that. Very leggy towards the end as well. Keep the questions coming. Make some noise for the Tractor Boys. Again, Ipswich on a good run. You look at games coming up this weekend as well. There's 10 games from Tuesday to Saturday. 2 games tomorrow. Accrington, Plymouth. Tough game at the WAM. Accrington haven't done enough in recent games. If you lose tomorrow, 3 defeats at home in a row. I know you played Portsmouth. I know you played Argyle. I know you played MK Dons. You'd be setting a target out for the start of the week at 4 points. Minimum 3, really, wouldn't you? So it's going to be a real tough game. Plymouth have to go there and show the quality and win. It is a banana skin, but they've got enough quality to win that game of football, in my eyes as well. And I do think they will win it. Barnsley, Sheffield Wednesday, Yorkshire Derby. Barnsley won at Hillsborough earlier on this season and played well, deserved the win. What was it, 2-0 in the end? I think this one will be a draw. I think Wednesday are looking a bit leggy, a bit tired. I know they went back to the training ground, didn't they? And did some cold weather recovery, and you know, and they were there late, but got obviously the weekend off as well, which I think will help them. But it's going to be a tough game, this, and I think it's a must-not-lose game for Barnsley and a must-not-lose game for Wednesday as well. Because if Wednesday lose, all of a sudden you've not won in 2, you've taken 1 point out of 6, and if Plymouth win, Plymouth are above you. I know you've got 2 games in hand, but the psychological fact of that happening are, crap, we've been caught here, and we need to get back to winning ways. And a few nerves will kick in my eyes as well. We've got Burton, Cambridge, a bit of a relegation, 6 points. I do think Burton are maybe 2 points needed again. I do think this one will be a draw, and one of those types of games where Cambridge will get something. Charlton, Wycombe, another good game. This should be a playoff battling game. I think it'll be, again, another draw where, again, Wycombe go with the approach to try and nick the game. Wycombe have to go there to try and win the game, not try and, you know, draw. Exeter, Accrington. Accrington, big game for them. If Exeter win, it's 3 wins in a row at St James's Park, and I think Exeter get the win as well. Fleetwood, Lincoln, a draw. Both teams love a draw. Both teams play kind of similar ways. And, yeah, Milton Keynes, Morecambe. I'm backing MK Dons because they're purely at home. I know the home form this year has been tragic, but, again, Morecambe's away record has been awful as well. MK Dons have improved. I think they get the win as well. They've also played each other at same MK this year in the Carabao Cup. Peterborough Derby, probably, if you look at it, biggest game of the week as well. You know, 2 sides looking to get into the playoffs. I think Peterborough will draw the game. I think Derby away from home, questionable. You know, they've only won 6 out of 18 against bigger sides. Peterborough strong at home. I think it'll be a draw. Portsmouth against Port Vale. Portsmouth will win that one in my eyes. Port Vale will be a tough test. And, you know, it could be a result where I see an away result. I just see Portsmouth winning and continuing that hope for the playoffs. Again, other results aren't really going for them right now. And Shrewsbury Bristol Rovers, I'll go for a Bristol Rovers win. I think both sides kind of relax, both sides on the beach, and Bristol Rovers can put up good performances out at this stage of the season. And Wednesday you played first last match day, play again on Sunday. This will be 3 games in 9 days. They've got to go down to Nailsworth, Forest Green Rovers, and play. It's going to be a difficult one. I do think they'll win this one 1-0, 2-0. Scrappy game, but get over that line. And that's all that matters in League One. And then you've got loads of games coming next to Barnsley, Charlton, Sheffield Wednesday, all coming up as well, which we'll discuss on next week's show. The title race really is going to go down to the wire. You know, if you look at the playoff, 64, 60, 60, 57. It's so close. Shrewsbury 55. I think they're out of it. 9 points off with a possible 27 to go. They'll have to win every game of the season, which they've won 6 in a row. Why can't they win 9 in a row? It'll be very, very tough for the Salop as well. 2-1 Barnsley to 3-1 Barnsley win. A lot of people backing Barnsley. The way Barnsley are playing, no one's safe. Yeah, especially against the bigger sides at home. They're looking good, and they're filling that stand behind the goal. That's all that matters, and they're getting behind the boys. If you've got any questions, let me know for the last 5 or 6 minutes of the show. If you haven't already, please like this stream as well. It would mean a lot to me, and it also helps people come towards the channel. There's 46 people in the chat, and there's 22 likes. Let's try and we'll go for 50 likes by the time that the stream's done and uploaded as well. So if you could like it, that'd be massively appreciated as well. Hello, Elwin, you're all right, mate. All the best. Big win for the Cod Army on Saturday. Huge win. I want to see Fleetwood play like that more often, with higher energy, with press, with getting balls down the side, getting cross into the box, being a nightmare for defenders, because we haven't done that enough this season in my eyes. Tuesday night match on Sky Sports for anyone that's not going. Loads of games on League One in the next week or so, which is good to see. I'm a Morecambe fan, and I have to hate to say it, I can't see us staying up. Look, I've looked at your fixtures. It's going to be difficult for you. You've got Charlton away, which brings back good memories. MK Dons away, which you should be looking at to win. Plymouth at home. Exeter away. These games, they are tough. You've got a tough running, but if you can just nick a couple of wins and be a little bit more braver. I know it's not really in Derek Adams' style to go out guns blazing, especially with your squad. He's brought in 2 experienced pros on short-term contracts as well, hasn't he? One of those being Umar Nias and Sore, the left-back. You've got plenty of quality in that squad to have enough to stay up. Good to see you looking better, loads better, Ben. Thanks, Jeff. I appreciate that, mate, as well. Opinion on Fleetwood's attendance, v Derby, looking like a family day out. Opinions on Fleetwood winning by 2-0, and the team that took 300 fans winning at a ground that had 25,500 in it just proves that fans do not win games of football. I just hate attendances, please. That every week comment on how many a team takes, what the limbs are like. Every goal's got to be, people falling down 15 rows of stairs. It's just, Derby fans weren't bad. I thought, they tried to create an atmosphere. And to be fair to them, they kept singing at 2-0 down. So, I praise them for that. But 300 fans went and won 2-0. It just shows you what happens on the pitch is all that matters. And, Wickham have got promoted out of this league. They only get 4,000 or 5,000 fans at home. Burton have done it. Yeovil have done it. There's no reason why other football clubs, those sizes, can't go and do it as well. It doesn't matter how many fans you have at a ground, in my opinion. I feel for Morecambe it's going to be very, very tough. They've done so well to be in this position, And it wouldn't be a shock if they went down. It wouldn't be a shock to me if they stayed up. They are the only team, remember, that haven't been relegated. Who's your top two? It's changed. I think Ipswich will pip it. I think Wednesday will go up as champions and rightful champions. But I think Ipswich, the run they're on, they're not conceding goals. I just think Plymouth will get a little bit shaky. And I don't think they'll even lose. I think there'll be a couple of draws in there. Accrington is a game that I can just see a 1-1 or a 2-2. And I'm not getting over that line. But, you know, every game that they win now is one game closer. I remember last year, every game that we weren't in the bottom four, it was like 8 games to go, 7 games to go, 6 games to go. And nobody caught us in the end. Plymouth just need to keep going. And look, it could end up where both teams get 100 points, but one team doesn't finish in the playoffs. You know, it's gonna be ridiculous whatever happens. In just now, you've highlighted both Ipswich and Plymouth for autos. No mention of Barnsley. If you have a look back early in the stream, I mentioned nobody's mentioned Barnsley for the playoff for the top 2. You do look at their running. And you do look at the games. Look, they've got 11 games to go. They're at 69 points. I can probably, if I'm honest with you, I think Wednesday will go up. I think that's done. I know you've got them tomorrow, and it's not done, but in my opinion, I think Wednesday will go up. Whatever way that will be, they are on the best form in the league. You know, I said when they won at Fleetwood, don't write these off. They won in the last minute, and they weren't great. And when you beat us at Oakwell, you beat us late on as well. And we don't write these off again as well. They've just got that bit of fight. And the thing is with Duff's teams they're a bit frustrating at times because they can start slow, but they get better in games. And they get better as the season's gone on. And they're winning games of football. And their record against a good side. They won away at Hillsborough, beat Plymouth at home. You know, they've got Ipswich coming up. You know, they beat Derby at home. They beat, obviously, they lost at home to Bolton quite convincingly. A red card changes the game. But the run they've been on has been exceptional, and they've got a good experienced manager. I do think they're in the top 2 race. I do think that they could even get third. I've tipped them to win the playoffs. I just think they're on a good run. You know, they're playing with style. I think whoever finishes third out of Wednesday, Ipswich, and Plymouth won't go up because the disappointment of not getting second weighs on your mind. And Barnsley went on a good run. 2017, 2015, 2016 was it? Where they went on a great run and they were bottom at Christmas and they went on this unbelievable run, won at home quite comfortably, got the job done away from home. Obviously, gutting that you have to play away first. But again, at Wembley, Adam Hamill scored an absolute screamer as well. They are still in it. They're just going to have to do a lot. I probably think Barnsley will probably need, out of 69 points, probably out of 33, probably 27 points, which is doable. I think if they can go and get 96 points, then why not? Because I don't see Plymouth getting less than 19. I don't see Ipswich getting less than 20, 21. That's what you're up against. Beat Ipswich, and it's a different ball game. And then you're open on Plymouth again. But a great comment. Thank you for that. And again, great reasoning. Who is coming down from the Championship, do you reckon? Well, Wigan are, in my opinion. They're 8 points adrift now. 3 points deducted this afternoon. I think Huddersfield will... No, I think Blackpool will come down as 23rd. You know, every time you see a bright light with them at home, then they've only lost once under Mick McCarthy. But away from home, they're not good enough. They've got some tough games coming up. They've got Preston, they've got Wigan, that are both winnable, but are both Lancashire derbies as well. Some tough games coming up. I know at this stage of the season, every game is tough. And I think Rotherham, if I'm honest with you, I think that you saw the other day them getting the game off was a sign of they didn't think they're going to win the game or draw the game. I think Cardiff will have enough to stay up. Obviously, that game will have to be replayed, I think. And then I think just Rotherham will get drawn into it. It's Neil Warnock that is making me think Huddersfield will stay up. They've had a couple of good wins under him. That one away at Millwall is a superb win. For me, up there in the top 4 results of the weekend, if not the best. To go away at a promotion rival who are good at home, you know, been so strong and win, keep a clean. I think they kept a clean sheet as well. So those three. Can you see Vale staying up, or will it be a struggle? Yeah, Port Vale will be more than fine. Next year, though, I worry about them. Another 9 points adrift, and the form of hasn't been good. Only 4 points from the last 5 games, but they played really well against Fleetwood. They should have won the game. It's just a bit of insecurity where they didn't see out the win. Burton went on a bad run, second half of last season and carried it into this year. You've probably got to refresh a little bit and get to the summer. I think you're looking at teams. The teams at the bottom obviously need to get through to the summer, but that chunk of Shrewsbury, Charlton, Fleetwood, Exeter, Lincoln, Bristol Rovers, Port Vale, Cheltenham just want the season to end now. I think it's got to that stage. But you've had a really good season to stay up, and Darryl Clark's done an amazing job. If a big club comes up, Peterborough potentially, I know they're not obviously a massive football club, but a big budget could tempt him in a wage increase. I think even, possibly, I think the teams at the top won't be looking at manager change because Derby, Paul Warne is probably the best you can get in League One. Duff is similar in terms of style, and he's a long-term manager. McKenna is loved and adored at Ipswich, until they draw a game at times. Schumacher is, worshipped, and Darren Moore is just like the god. You know what I mean? At the minute, although he does remind me of Lenny Henry off the Travel Lodge. He used to remind me of, Lenny Henry off the Travel Lodge. Or was it the Premier Inn adverts? But as a guy, you cannot meet a better guy than Darren Moore. Down to earth, speaks well, has time for fans. Literally, they're clapping to high silver lining. Top manager. And I got ridiculed because I said, for me, he's a calm manager. And when you're losing, you think, oh, he's a boring manager. He's not. He's just someone that you want. Every Sheffield Wednesday fan will be stressing out, thinking, we need to get promoted. He'll be sat at home now knowing his players will carry on working hard and we'll get over that line. It's as simple as that. 4,500 Wednesday fans making the trip to Oakwell tomorrow. Superb support, and I'm sure Barnes will be well backed at home as well. Bet that was nice winning there, mate. Great win. Got to have them. You have, but it doesn't matter if it's 5,000 fans or 50 fans. For me, look, 5,000 fans look awesome. I've seen Wednesday. I've seen, these big fan bases celebrate at clubs. I've seen a lot of last-minute limbs at Fleetwood where I think, fair play. But for every goal, you're 4-0 up. Do you really need the title limbs? Wednesday fans best in the league. I will be doing a reversed angle of that, of best home fans and best away fans in due course. And they're both very different. So there's some at the top of home fans, where away fans, are quite low down as well. Goal difference is key. I said this all along. Ipswich is superior because of the amount of clean sheets to keep. And that is, I've always said clean sheets win promotion. I never thought it would win promotion in that way, put it that way. I know all well and good going down to goal difference. But fans at away matches is what teams need. The more, the better. No, they are. But I've seen Fleetwood take 1,000 to ground, take 800 to ground. And then I've seen us take 30 on a Tuesday night to Ipswich and win 1-0. So it really can be different. It can add pressure. It really can. Sometimes a smaller number that go, it's ridiculous. It makes a difference, but I don't think it makes a difference. Some fans think it does, in my eyes as well. And as well, some of the fans that have come to Fleetwood this year brought 1,200, sold out, and made less noise than 100 fans. I've got to say, at this moment in time, the best supporters to come to Highbury is Port Vale, for me. And I'd even put them up in my top 5 fans I've seen at Highbury since I've been going. I thought they were brilliant. I think we've got the best goal difference in the league, plus 41 if I'm right. Yeah, when you look at it as well, Wednesday are on 39. Come on, Wednesday, get your acts together. Even Barnsley is quite strong as well, because Barnsley's defence is going unnoticed. You've only conceded 29 goals this year as well. Prediction for Wednesday, but I think it'll be a draw. Both teams I really like. Both managers I adore. Both supporters I think are great. I've got a soft spot for both teams, and I hope both teams end up with a big chance of getting out of this league as well. Argyle need to put these lower sides to the sword. 4 goals past our goal difference. Yeah, I get that, but with Argyle, if you win every game 1-0 till the end of the year, job done, right? That's all that matters. It doesn't matter about goal difference at this point. Look, it could matter, but you're in the box seat. If you win every game till the end of the season, which is going to be very difficult, don't get me wrong, you'll get promoted. Wycombe Wanderers go up via the playoffs. They're in with a chance, and with Wycombe, you never write them off. Their house, their rules as well. Listen, whoever goes up will deserve it. Ben, question: do you think second could go down to goal difference? It could go down to goals scored. You never know. I've seen this situation where it's gone with positions, not maybe as dramatic as this. It's gone down to goals scored. Last year Fleetwood stayed up via, I think, was it goal difference, because Gillingham got battered a lot last year. Fleetwood were only losing by the odd goal, and in the end that kept us up. Mate, if you didn't support Fleetwood, probably, obviously I've been to a lot of other football games, but I fell in love with Fleetwood, and it's really hard because obviously there are other local sides round to us, but you never know. I wouldn't ever like to think about that. Which team sent the most on? There you are. Yes, same. We did. I didn't know we played for both teams. Wednesday, I spent under 400k on transfers. Big wages, though. There'll be players on big wages that people always discuss with me that we didn't spend much on transfers. But Fleetwood have done it in the past where we've given £5 grand to a player, £4 grand to a player. We win a ton of games 1-0, so I'm surprised we're even at 39 goal difference. That's all. Wednesday get the job done, don't they? And remember when they were 10 games unbeaten on Boxing Day, and I went, you've won 5, drawn 5, and you got 2 points a game. If you did that for the next 10 matches, I didn't think they'd go and do it for the next 13 matches and go on the best unbeaten run that in the league and win promotion that way. They've won 23 out of 35, for God's sake. So it's mad. I always say 2 points a game, you get it, you get promoted. I don't think it will be. I think this year, you'll have to probably look to get 2.1, 2.2 points a game. I could see second getting 100 points as well, where you could see, I think even the playoffs, I think Bolton are averaging for 78 points at the minute. I think that they'll have to up that and get about 80 to 81, where the bottom area, 44, 45. There's been a lot more teams this year, I think, in the middle that haven't been good. Last year, there was kind of like 8 really good teams, probably then 8 really average teams that did all right, and they weren't bad, and then probably 6 bad teams, and then 2 teams that just didn't do anything. I think this year there's probably been 6, probably 9 or 10 really poor teams, probably 6 average, 6 teams that are up and down. I think probably I can mention them now. Port Vale, Bristol is linking next to Fleetwood, and Charlton and Shrewsbury, 6 or 7 in there as well. All of a sudden, they've had good seasons, bar Charlton, of course. And then your Portsmouth, not so great because obviously they want to be in the playoffs. But, I look at it, and I think that playoffs have been pretty set for a while now. I know Portsmouth and Peterborough are putting a bit of pressure on, and Wycombe have got the quality to do so, but I don't see Ipswich or Barnsley dropping out. I can't see Derby dropping out. And Bolton, they've got quality to go over the line, and they've got a nice run in as well. Ben, you see the top 6 staying up, staying the same. I do at this moment in time. The only change I could see is Peterborough, but they've lost 15 games, but I think they've only drawn 3 games. That's the issue. I did say at the start of the year, you could probably lose 30 games and still get promoted if you win the other 31. Also you're 93 points as well. Again, so we're going to end today's stream here. Again, we've gone through the League One table. We had an extended Q&A for you as well. We're at 30 likes now, guys. So if you could like, that'd be massively appreciated as you are leaving the stream. And as we've ended the stream, if you've not already, please like, please subscribe, turn notifications on so you get notified when I upload. We do upload all the match day vlogs. We go live with League One Roundup. Obviously, I've not been as consistent as I would like to be due to some unforeseen circumstances. But we're back on track now. We're going to make some videos in the week as well. Obviously, lots of League One content between now and the end of the season, and even in pre-season, we always bring you League One content as well. So if you could you could subscribe. That'd be massively appreciated. We're at 10,400 subscribers now, so thank you so much for your support as well. Thanks to those that have watched throughout as well. It's been massively appreciated. We've gone through all the games. We've had a look at Tuesdays, Saturdays games as well. We've had a look at the table, and we've had a few predictions in there as well. Thank you very much for watching. Until next time, I'll see you later. Up the cards, up the League One, and thank you very much for watching. Up the cards.